Hey everyone, Michael Cavacini here with my next James Bond movie review. The first one was Dr. No. Next up, I'm going to do Goldfinger. For those of you wondering, why am I going out of order? The reason why is because I'm watching the special edition DVD box sets. So there's 3 volumes, volume 1, 2, and 3, and that was for the first 20 Bond films. And each of those box sets was not chronological. So the first one was Dr. No, second one, Goldfinger. So Goldfinger, really, I'm going to skip ahead to my thoughts, but click the link down below, go to my website, and read the full piece that I wrote up about this, where you will get the story, what I call 00 insights, and also my thoughts. So for the purposes of this video, I'm going to share with you my thoughts on Goldfinger. So Goldfinger marks the start of Bondmania. Unfortunately, Ian Fleming didn't live to see it. According to a documentary included with the special edition DVD of the film, he died right before it was released. It's a shame because Goldfinger marks the hallmarks of the perfect Bond film. While watching the 2 documentaries included with the special edition DVD of Goldfinger, I learned quite a few things. First, Gert Frobe, who plays Goldfinger, did not provide the voice of the character. Guy Hamilton, the director, asked him to say his lines quickly so he could edit in another voice actor. And the reason for this is because Gertz had a really heavy accent, and also his command of the English language is rather limited. I thought they did a fantastic job at this, because normally when you see dubbing in a movie, it's really obvious, like a kung fu movie and stuff like that. But they did a fantastic job at this. I would have never noticed it if I hadn't watched the documentary. So kudos to them. And some of the lines that he delivers, like, of course, "No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die," are some of the greatest in history of cinema, not just James Bond. And they were delivered really well. I mean, when you look at his body language and the way he actually mouths it, it matches up perfectly with the voice. So I am very impressed. Harold Sakata, former pro wrestler. If you know me, you know I'm a wrestling fan. And Sakata played Oddjob, Goldfinger's hat-flinging henchman. Sakata actually burnt himself during that memorable climax. He held the hat there was in the bars, and the sparks are flying. Well, apparently, according to Guy Hamilton, Sakata burnt himself because he was holding onto the hat, and I guess the sparks burnt his skin. But he didn't say anything. He just kept going with the scene until Hamilton yelled "cut." So that just gives you an idea of how tough of a guy he really was, and his dedication to doing a great job as Oddjob. No pun intended. So Goldfinger, another thing that really caught my eye when I was watching the documentaries about this is that it was the start of the massive merchandising wave, really, for James Bond. And I'm a Kiss fan, so I know all about merchandising. But this was long before Kiss existed, that James Bond was just killing it and set the golden bar, if you will, for merchandising a property. I mean, there were toy cars, there were James Bond shoes, there were all sorts of items that they were producing and that people were buying up. They were also doing double features back in the day, where you would see Dr. No and Goldfinger, because, there was no such thing as like home video or streaming. So people would go back to the theater when they would re-release movies so you could see it again. So Goldfinger was just immensely popular and helped launch Bond into becoming basically a pop culture phenomenon at that point. And, the story is really brilliant and well told. If you think about the premise about breaking into Fort Knox and not actually stealing anything, that's actually pretty intriguing, right? Even to this day, it's a fascinating plot, and I thought it was effectively told. And you have the great car chases, the obligatory romantic scenes between Bond and Pussy Galore and all these other women, and you have 2 of the greatest villains in Bond history with Goldfinger and Oddjob. I mean, Sean Connery brought Bond to life with a level of confidence and grace that was inspiring, and John Barry's score, which apparently he had to whip up rather quickly, is perfectly suited for the film. And who could forget Shirley Bassey's title track? I mean, it was really the first big-time Bond theme, And when you think the movie Goldfinger, I don't know about you, but I see the title, and immediately in my head, I just hear her voice, Goldfinger, and you just think of that. That just tells you how iconic that song is. And she just sang that at the 60th anniversary concert, and it was pretty cool to see that. And that's available on Amazon if you haven't checked it out. But it really set the bar for Bond themes going forward, and of course she would do a couple more. But really still packs punch to this day. Also, Ken Adams' production design. So they really didn't have access to see the inside of Fort Knox. They had a blueprint, but they didn't, Fort Knox wasn't like, come on in and take a look and take pictures. No, because they're obviously security's a high priority there. So they really had to guess when they came to creating the inside of Fort Knox. And of course, I think it was Cubby Broccoli told Ken Adam, I want piles of gold. So he created this kind of cathedral. Oh, I think he said a cathedral of gold. And that's what Ken Adam did, right? He created all of these piles of gold for the movie. And apparently someone from Fort Knox reached out to them after the fact and said, good job. So they were even impressed with what was produced. Yeah, so visually it is quite stunning. And also the laser used in the "No, Mr. Bond, I Expect You to Die" scene was a first for films back then. That was not, I think that they said in the documentary that was the first time a laser was used in a movie. So that's pretty cool when you think about it. And that required a hell of a lot of work because they didn't have CGI and all of that back then. They had to put a lot of work into making that show up on camera and look real, and of course not injure Sean Connery, or I guess maybe the stuntman who was in that role. I don't know if it was a stuntman or if it was Connery. I don't know that they actually specified that. But either way, you have this laser going towards someone's crotch, and you're trying to, I think they said they were burning the table from underneath as the laser would move. So obviously you still run the risk of potentially injuring whoever's crotch is there in the shot. So I wouldn't want to be that person, but thankfully there were no issues, and they filmed it and it looked wonderful. But yeah, Goldfinger, it really does hold up, and I do think that there's a lot of merit in saying that it is the perfect classic James Bond film. When you think of Sean Connery and you think of probably the best Sean Connery Bond, Goldfinger really does rank right up there. But what are your thoughts on Goldfinger? Feel free to share them down below. Let me know your thoughts. If you want to buy the movie and you don't own it, I'll include a link to that down below as well. So, please like this video, subscribe to my channel, visit me at michaelcavacini.com. Thanks so much for tuning in. Make sure to watch my Dr. No movie review, and look forward to sharing more of these James Bond movie reviews with you in the months to come as we continue to celebrate the 60th anniversary. So this will go into 2023. So at that point it will be, the 61st year. But that's okay, because there's 25 films to get through, and there's no way I'm getting through all of them by the end of the year. So let's take our time and enjoy all of these films together. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hope you have a great day. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.